Hi everyone, welcome back. I thought in this video we would talk a bit about living independently with a chronic illness, and it feels very fitting to be filming this video at the minute because, and I can't quite believe I'm saying this will probably be one of the last, if not the last video that I film in this flat, which has been my little happy place for the last 8 years. At the end of last year, I had an offer accepted on a house. I'm still going to be living in York. I'm still going to be living solo, and I'm really, really excited to move. It feels like exactly the right choice. But all of that said, I am really going to miss this flat. I don't think I've quite processed yet that I'm leaving. It's really something to think about how much life has happened in this flat, even though the entire time I've been living here, I've been managing this energy limiting condition. And I'm not going to go and do a big deep dive about that now because that's not the purpose of this video today. The purpose of this video today is to have a chat about living independently with a chronic illness and to share some of my tips and advice for anybody who's either considering starting to do that themselves or has already started and is looking for ways to adapt and hopefully make life a little bit easier. So I've got 7 tips to share with you today, and the first one, number 1, is to know what support you're entitled to and what support is currently out there. And I want to say thank you very much to SP Energy Networks for sponsoring this video so I can tell you a bit about their free priority services register. Being signed up means that in the event of an emergency, your network operator will know that you're a vulnerable customer and there might be additional resources and support that they can provide. So SP Energy Networks is one example of a network operator who offers a priority services register, and customers who are signed up for that register can access additional support in the event of a power outage. Now there's a whole range of support available, but some examples are they can provide generators for people who are medically reliant on electricity for their care. They can provide winter packs that contain essential items. They can connect you with resilience partners who can provide social care support if you need it. If there's a prolonged power outage, they can provide hot food and hotels. And they've also got this dedicated welfare line that customers can ring if they need support. And that's not an exhaustive list of all the different types of support they provide. I'm going to leave a link in my description box so you can find out more. And if you do have a disability or a chronic illness, I would urge you to sign up for your local network operator's priority services register. It's something that I've personally done ever since I started living independently. And I think just having the peace of mind of knowing that support is there in case you need it, that's a really big part of the puzzle, a really big piece of the puzzle. And the other thing I will say that I think is important to know is that you can self-identify as disabled or chronically ill. And I know that sometimes when you're living with a stigmatised chronic illness, you can sometimes wonder whether you're quote unquote allowed to access support like this. But these networks and these registers exist to support anybody who might need it in the case of an emergency. And goodness knows, with all of these extreme weather events we've been seeing this season, I really think it's worth signing up and knowing that the option is there if you need it. As well as priority services registers, other things that might be worth looking into if you're living independently are a council tax reduction. If you're in a single person household, you can get a 25% discount on your council tax. It's worth contacting your local authority to inquire about social care and whether there's anything you might be eligible for. It's also worth seeing if your local authority offers any subsidised travel options, whether you can apply for a blue badge. You might be able to access a concessionary bus pass, which can get you some free journeys and a discount on others. And then one I can't believe it took me as long to discover as it did is prescription delivery services. So if you struggle to leave the house, you don't have to physically go to a pharmacy to collect your prescriptions because there are services where you can order through your GP like usual and those prescriptions will be delivered to your door. I will say there's a lot of different services who provide this, and some in my experience are more reliable than others, but the one that I've used for the last, goodness knows, at least since lockdown, so at least 5 or 6 years, the one that I personally use is Pharmacy to You, and I've had pretty good experiences of that one overall. So in summary, it's really worth looking into what support you might be entitled to. There might be things out there that you're not aware of yet, or you might not realise that you're entitled to them, so it's really worth having a little research and seeing what might be available to support you in your quest for independent living. My next tip is absolutely essential, and that is to make sure you have a contingency plan for bad days or for when things go wrong. Because when you're living with a chronic illness, you will know that sometimes you can do everything right, you can do everything you're supposed to do, and you'll still have days when you wake up and you'll feel like you've been hit by a truck. If you're living independently and you find yourself in a situation where you're struggling to look after yourself, you need to make sure that you have the essentials within easy reach of where you're likely to be. So I have my bed here and I have my bedside table there, and in there I've got all my medication, including pain relief, prescription medication, electrolytes. I've got snacks in there, like non-perishable snacks in there. I've got water in there, spare water, noise cancelling headphones, earplugs. Basically, it can help to brainstorm a list of everything you're likely to need if you find yourself in a situation where you're suffering but you can't necessarily get up and move. There are times, thankfully it doesn't happen as often now, but there are times when I'll wake up from sleep or wake up from a nap and I physically can't move. I feel like I can't move. So even just having stuff that you can just like reach out your hand and grab rather than having to sit up, get up, go to another room, sometimes that's the thing that makes all the difference. Another tip when it comes to your space when you're living independently is to organise your space in a way that makes sense for you and your routines and the way you like to do things. I think I've mentioned this in a video before, but I kind of have like a tea making station set up in my kitchen. So like many British people, I often can't function without a cup of tea. So I've got my kettle, my cups, my tea bags, my milk, my teaspoons. I've got them all in an area and all in a way that makes sense where I can grab everything I need on just one trip rather than just having to take a few steps backwards and forwards. And again, that might sound like such a small thing to some of the people watching this video, but it's stuff like that that can make little tasks and things you do routinely a lot easier when you're managing fatigue and pain. And the other thing to consider is whether there are any disability aids that might be suitable for you or might be beneficial to you just to put around your house. Even if you've not used mobility aids before, even if you're not a wheelchair user, there might be little adaptive pieces of equipment that can make your everyday tasks of living a little bit easier. And rather than sit and go through all of them now, I did a whole other video on this time last year. So I will put a link to that in the description box. Hopefully it'll be on screen somewhere right now as well. But just think about how you can make your everyday tasks more adaptive and easier for you. Coming to you from my kitchen counter with this next piece of advice, but this is a biggie if you have an energy limiting condition or you're managing fatigue. My best advice is to underplan what you're trying to accomplish in a day rather than overplan. Try and underschedule what you want to get done rather than trying to pack your day full of too many things, because as we all know, if you overexert, you're going to boom and bust and you might end up really poorly as a result. So the way that I tend to do it is I've got like a mental list of things in my head, sort of physical tasks that I'm capable of doing myself, because we're going to come on to that next, what to do about the ones that you're not capable of doing. But the physical tasks that I'm capable of doing myself, I try and plan for one a day on the days when I'm in the house. If I'm going out or I'm on a job, obviously that's different because you're exerting your energy in other ways. But if I'm working in the house or I'm at home that day, I plan for one activity off my list, one job off my list. Obviously that's going to look different for everybody and it's going to depend on your own capacity. But the other thing is to say, try not to get frustrated if you don't manage to get done everything that you want to, because believe me, that is a routine part of my existence of living independently. There's always more that I wish I could get done. Like right now, expose myself here. Right now you're seeing one corner of my kitchen which looks fine, but if I swiveled the camera that way a little bit, you would see a pile of pots that I need to do something about. But the reason they're there is because I haven't unloaded my dishwasher yet. Loading and unloading my dishwasher is a task I can do myself, but I haven't been able to unload the dishwasher yet, which means I can't put the other pots in. And it can be really, really frustrating, especially when you want your space to always look neat and tidy and pristine. But no matter how much you want that, it isn't necessarily going to change the amount of usable energy your body has in you that day. And it can be really frustrating. Like, trust me, I know how frustrating that can be, but try not to beat yourself up about it, because if you don't manage to get something done on one day, you might be able to manage to get it done the next day, or the one after, or the one after that. I've just made eye contact with a girl in a house across the street just while I'm casually set up here on my kitchen counters. But you know what? It's surprisingly comfy, so I'm going to stay here for the next one since it's kind of related as well. Oh, she's still looking. All right, okay, she's gone. Number 4, it's kind of related. If there are tasks that you need to do to live independently, but you're not well enough to do them yourself, it might be worth looking into a PA, even if that's something that you have to organise and fund yourself. For me personally, I don't meet the criteria to receive social care, but there are tasks that I'm not capable of doing that I do need to do. And because of that, a couple of years ago, I started having a PA come once a fortnight to help me with those tasks. And I do once a fortnight because that's what my budget allows. That's what's realistic and sustainable for me. Of course, you might need somebody more frequently. You might not be able to justify having someone regularly. But just have a look and have a research and see if there are either any carers or PAs or little networks like that, because there might be people who can come and help on a regular basis or when you need it. Cleaning is the thing that I tend to struggle with the most. It's such a funny one because, and again, like, it's not helpful to compare yourself with other people, even those with similar conditions, because there are things that I can do that other people can't necessarily do. And there are things that other people can do that I can't do. So for example, I've got no problem. I can walk up a flight of stairs, and I do that regularly, and that would be unthinkable for some people with my condition. But I really struggle to wipe a surface. Like, that movement of doing that, I'm not going to do it properly. That movement of doing that to wipe a surface, that makes me so poorly. And I still don't really understand why. And I feel a bit vulnerable sharing this actually, because it is something that I'm quite self-conscious about. So I have a PA who comes once a fortnight. She's lovely. We have a set list of tasks that she does for me, but if there's like something out of the ordinary that comes up, we will like adjust for that. And that's a massive, massive help for me. I don't know how I would manage without it, to be honest. And the price point can really vary. In my opinion, you're better off looking for an individual who's self-employed rather than going through a care agency, although that will completely differ for individuals. You have to do what's best for you. But if you haven't already, you might want to consider looking into a PA and whether that's something that can help you. Number 5 is to have a list of emergency contacts. And by that, I don't necessarily mean family and relatives, although that's great if you do have people available to help, but also a list of people who you can contact in the event of a specific thing going wrong. And the reason I say this is that having that list ready and prepared in advance is so much more fatigue friendly than having to scramble about and try and organise it in the event of something going wrong. So a few examples that I jotted down. You might have some of these contacts already, but I think it's worth pulling them together into one document or putting them together in one place, because then you can just reach for it, even on a day when your brain's not functioning to the best of its capacity. Potentially helpful contacts: landlord, building manager, plumber, joiner, like an odd jobs person. That can be really valuable. Like, there are people out there who just do bits and bobs. So if there's a task that a non-disabled person might be able to do, but you can't do it specifically because you have a disability, an odd jobs person might be one to go for. GP, consultant, dentist. If you are joining a priority services register, some of them might have the dedicated welfare line like SP Energy Networks does, so that can be worth noting down as well. If you do want to sign up for this and you live in either central and southern Scotland, Cheshire, Merseyside, North Shropshire or North Wales, all you have to do is go to spenergynetworks.co.uk/PSR and you'll find all the info you need. And I'll pop a link to this in the description box too. And then the other thing that I wanted to share here is, if you have a specific job that needs doing but you don't necessarily know who the right person or the right organisation to do it is, there are websites like My Builder where you can basically upload a description of the job or what you want doing, and then people who are on there can almost like pitch for it or apply for it. So that can be great because it means you only have to type it out once and then you have people contacting you rather than you having to reach out and contacting lots of people. So if you've not used that before, that might be worth a look at as well. Just checking you can't see my laundry drying over there. That's another thing where I've not done it yet. We'll hopefully do it soon. We'll hopefully be able to put it away soon. Number 6, I feel like there's two types of people when it comes to this one. There will be people who enjoy doing this and people for whom this is their worst nightmare. But my best piece of advice is to keep organised and keep on top of your admin as much as possible. So regardless of whether you're renting or you own a house or whatever your living situation is, it's really helpful to have all of your documents in one place. Thankfully, most documents are digital now anyway, but even if they're coming through on an email or they're coming through in the post, it's really worth scanning them in and putting them all in one folder and having your files arranged digitally, like for different things, for like house, job, health, work. That's the same as job. But it just means that when you need to find something specific or something comes up and you're thinking, where on earth is that document? I know I've seen it, I don't know where I've put it. Just being able to go to the exact folder makes that task of locating things much more fatigue friendly, especially if you're struggling with cognitive function or you're having a brain foggy day. Yeah, I'm definitely in the camp of people who's learned to enjoy it. Like it can be annoying, but if you can sometimes learn to make it into a nicer task. Like make yourself a nice cup of tea, put some music on, get comfy, get your blanket. And I do think it's quite a satisfying task, just like getting organised and making sure you're on top of things. And most importantly, it's one of those things that your future self is probably going to thank you for. And then the final piece of advice I have to you when it comes to independent living is just to embrace the highs and the lows, because goodness knows there are plenty of both of them. I think sometimes when we share these stories online, it can be easy to glorify or to celebrate living independently. And on the one hand, that's something that we should do because it's not easy. It is an accomplishment to be able to live independently, but at the same time, it's not a failure if you can't live independently. There are days where I feel completely defeated. If I'm being really, really honest, there are times when I feel like I have nowhere near the amount of support I need, especially on a poorly day. There are days when I think, how on earth am I going to get through this? And you just have to take it minute by minute, hour by hour. You have to solve one problem at a time. And it can be really, really tough. And then on the other side, there are so many moments when I'm just so grateful to be able to have my own space and to make it my own. Like, I am very much an introvert at heart, and I truly not only value, but I really need alone time in order to recharge and to rest the way that my body and my mind needs. It is something that I will never take for granted. Like, I'll go out and I'll have a great time with other people and I'll have my little adventures, but just knowing that I've got my own quiet, peaceful space to come back to. I'm saying quiet, peaceful space. I do have neighbours. I do live in a flat and have neighbours, so that's something else to take into consideration as well. But just knowing that I've got this safe space to come back to is just the best thing, and I'm just so grateful to have it. So really embrace the highs and the lows and know that there will be plenty of both, but just indulge in it. Just make the space your own. If you're a bookish person, try and make the bookshelf of your dreams happen. Just fill your space with your favourite things and the things that bring you comfort and happiness. I really think that's so important. I didn't want this video to be too long, but I really hope there's been some tips and advice in here that's helpful, maybe some things you haven't heard of before. But if you are living independently, or you're starting to live independently, or you're considering it, and you have any of your own advice to share, I would really love to hear it, and I'd be so grateful if you could share it in the comments, especially because there might be people watching this who are on the start of that journey themselves as well. So I'd really love to hear any tips and advice of your own. My voice is doing some really weird things today, so I think that's probably my cue to sign off. I know that these sit down videos aren't for everybody and they might not be what you come to my channel for, but these months of the year are usually my hibernation time, so thank you for bearing with me. I do have some little travel and lifestyle videos in the works that are hopefully coming over the next few months, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. But for now, I'll just say thank you so much as always for watching and for being here. I really appreciate it. You can subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.